猫和老鼠这个动画，我觉得都不用问你有没有看过，我应该问谁没有看过。这应该是极少数的人，我们小时候在各种公共场合、医院、车上都能看到它，这就是一部传世经典。而我一直都非常好奇，仅凭借一只猫和一只老鼠互相打斗，它怎么能够活80多年，成为那么多代人的童年记忆？而且到今天来看，它的节奏仍然不会过时。那这一次，我们非常荣幸的邀请到了猫和老鼠的动画师 John 老师，来和我们做了一次连线的分享。所以废话不多说，我们一起来学习一下。Hi John, it's great to meet you in person.
Hey Tim, it's great to be on board with you. My name is John Pomeroy. I'm an animation artist, producer, painter, and illustrator. And I've been working in animation since 1973.I've been doing storyboard now for the last 20 years. I worked on 4 Tom and Jerry films. It's been a wonderful career. I'm still enjoying it too.
不仅动画师会沉浸于创作动画的乐趣之中，观看动画也是我们小时候最为期待和最快乐的回忆之一。可是当我们长大以后，反而不会再像小时候那样专门找来动画片看上一下午。但是我相信，即便你已经很久没有看过《猫和老鼠》，你也一定用过或者见过它衍生的表情包，不管是难过、生气还是颓废、坏笑，随便哪一种情绪，你都能在 Tom 和 Jerry 的脸上找到。这就让我非常好奇，这些现在仍旧很热门的表情，在当年是怎么被创作出来的？
Well, there are certain universal expressions that everybody can identify with all over the world. Laughter.Yeah. You know, the shoulders going up like this and the character grabbing his chest, you know, we understand that as laughter. Sadness, the eyebrows are down like this. Anger, eyebrows are pinched right at the head. So it's like, there's anger. I have a tool here that we've used for years.
Mirror.
The mirror. I can look at myself and get an expression and then draw it.Is
that what you literally do? So when you're drawing Tom and Jerry, do you look at yourself and do the expressions?
Yeah. When I first started over at Disney, we had full-length mirrors like mounted on the doorways and the back of the doors so that animators not only can look at their face, but they can also get up out of their chair and study their full figure for an attitude. Once you get the attitude, then you could start to refine the details about the face, shoulders, what the hands are doing, what the eyebrows, the facial plane, what we call the mask in animation, which is this area right here that registers maximum emotion.
不过不得不说，许多人心中的猫和老鼠的形象大多都来自第一代画师 William Hanna 和 Joseph Barbera 的风格，毕竟7个奥斯卡奖全是他俩拿的。但是其实猫和老鼠经历过好几代的画师，那其中最具争议的当属这个 Chuck Jones 的版本。这一版的猫和老鼠在画风和角色表现上和我们熟知的那一版差异非常显著，但是我相信你小时候一定看过这个版本。那究竟为什么会发生这样的变化呢？ We always see like Tom Jerry kind of changes shape over time. And why is that?
That's one of the fun things about hand-drawn animation. Because it's hand-drawn, change is inevitable.Artists see little things that are working better in the animation with that particular design. So they'll modify the design. Hanna-Barbera, Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera, when they first started developing Tom, more of a realistic cat. And then after several, maybe 5 or 6 cartoons later, they started to refine the shapes. And it wasn't all at once. It was a little bit at a time until about 1948.They pretty much had arrived at the Tom character that we know and love. Chuck Jones brought his own design sense to the 2 characters now. The way it was laid out, the way the action is played, totally different.
This is quite different comparing to, you know...
It is. Hanna-Barbera, they liked softness and stretchiness. Chuck Jones loves angularity and high design, and you could tell the difference right away.
其实不管是哪个版本的猫鼠形象，他们都贡献了很多火爆出圈的经典名场面。Tom 有各种令人意想不到的夸张形变， Jerry 也有各种离谱的操作。那为了能让我们更详细的了解一个夸张动作是怎么诞生的， John 在现场就直接拿起了画笔。
I'm going to do you a drawing.
Yeah.
I'll show you a particular type of take that Tom would do. Well, sometimes I draw it in my head first. I could see it in my head first, and then.It's like transposing it on paper gets a lot easier. We have what's called the anticipation, which is where we scrunch the character together and then tongue comes out. Everything explodes. Here's what they sometimes would do is they would have multiple eyes shooting inside of their head.
Yeah.
And then you see this.
Oh my god. That was quick. It's literally like 2 minutes you finish the drawing. You said exaggeration of, reality is really important for the animation, especially for Tom and Jerry. But how do you control the amount of exaggeration? I mean, if it's too much, it will be weird. How do you get the exact, amount to get people feel the humor and funniness?
Animation is a collaborative art form, especially if you have people that you trust their judgment in. And that's how you regulate how far or how much you can exaggerate. You're alone at your board drawing, you got a great idea and say, yeah, I like that. You take it and show it to the director and all of the others that are watching. And they'll give you their opinions, and some of them are good, and you'll trust their opinions, and you'll go back and make the changes. So it's a balancing situation. It works out very well.
I'm curious about John. A lot of kids watch these animations and Tom and Jerry's. If the animation not done right, those kind of movement, cutting, hitting something will be cruel for the kids. How do you guys, manipulate the movement, make sure it's funny and not cruel?
Yeah, one of the things that's important too that they do in these is that there is never any blood. When Tom gets hit by a frying pan and the frying pan is taken away, his head is like a pancake, and then he shakes his head and it goes back to normal and then chases Tom again. It's like you get pushed and you shake it off and you continue with your action. That this is the way the world in Tom and Jerry lives works.
That's the fundamental baseline of the cornerstone of the whole animation, right? Yeah. 作为观众，我们不难发现，猫和老鼠那些生动传神的表情设计，以及出其不意的夸张处理，都是让它火到今天的重要原因之一。但是我很想知道，从一个创作者的角度，他们是怎么利用他们的作画还有各种手段，让观众愿意看下去的。那换到今天的话来说，就是留存率是怎么保住的。
Couple teams of writers and sketch artists that just have funny senses of humor, and they just start creating storyboards. They'll have maybe 40 sketches that are outlining a basic gag with Tom chasing after Jerry, and then the bulldog surprisingly shows up, scares Tom off and begins chasing after him. And there'll be a whole bunch of antics, and out of one board you may have 6 different gags that are playing off of each other in continuity. And they would go through these 3 components for every gag: the setup, the calamity, and then the resolve, which was usually, that's where the laugh was. I mean, in either way, if you're expecting a gag and it does happen, you still laugh at that. If you're expecting a gag and it's totally surprised, you laugh at that too. Animation can do that, Tim. That's, what attracts us to the art form.
Yeah. 除了夸张的动作和巧妙的剧情设计，音乐也同样起到了让我们印象深刻的作用。猫和老鼠里面使用了50多首古典音乐，其中包括了很多知名音乐家的作品。但刻在我们 DNA 里的还是那首由狮子头开场的音乐，只要它一响，你就仿佛回到了小时候，坐在电视机前面，等着猫和老鼠开场的时光。
Music is really, really important. When you're doing a series like Tom and Jerry, they may have set pieces of music for a chase. It's on a beat. Everything was animated to a cadence or a vamp. And if you just listen to the soundtrack and the music that Scott Brady crafted for each of the Tom and Jerry films, it's amazing. The explosions are bigger. The running is harder because the music accentuates the animation.
It's amazing. Yeah, the music really has the power. The animation builds up the character. Music gives you the emotion at the exact moment.
Absolutely.
听完焦老师的分享，我们更加能感受到猫和老鼠的角色设计、表情动作处理，还有音乐的选取，都包含了非常多的巧思。那在今天，我们还可以通过 Pixel 4 Ultra MR 混合现实一体机来沉浸的重温这部传世经典。它不仅有猫和老鼠正版版权，还配备了双目3200万像素彩色透视摄像头和 4K 超视感屏，有非常优秀的彩色透视效果，能够将视频播放窗口和现实场景丝滑的结合。它还拥有多人影院观看模式，无论在哪儿都能和你的朋友们沉浸式观影。那如果你看完焦老师画画之后，你也跃跃欲试，不妨来试试用 Pixel 4 Ultra 来一场新奇有趣的绘画之旅。它支持拍摄和观看空间视频 ，MR 应用 用和游戏玩法也都非常丰富，可以轻松带你进入奇妙的数字世界。在猫和老鼠问世80多年后的今天，已经有很多更加便捷或者说智能的动画创作工具了。我们也很想知道，老师对于这些现代技术的看法到底是什么样的。
One last question is, I mean, nowadays people are saying, yeah, we don't need animations. You just type in the words and the AI generates the cartoons for you. What's your take on that?
I think the animator and the artists that are in animation are a reflection of the world around them, taking in and observing all that's going on. I don't think a machine can take that in, and it can synthesize and artificially make up something, but it can't generate an original thought and idea about the world around them. And that's the important distinction.
I believe so. I have the same opinion as you. Okay. Thank you for all the amazing work you have done. It's truly amazing.
Yeah. Well, cartoons have that medicinal purpose. They give us great joy in our life. And that's why they've been around for so long. They're a source of comfort. They're a source of joy, and they're a source of laughter.
Yeah, so much love, so much joy coming through the cartoons, and it never gets old.
Yes.
所以这就是我们这期视频的全部内容，非常感谢 John 老师能够腾出时间来给我们做这么有意思的分享。那如果你喜欢这期内容的话，也请给我们点赞、投币、3连转发，并且转发给你别的热爱猫和老鼠的朋友们看一看，这都有很大的帮助，他也应该会喜欢。那么我们下次再见。